Hello. This is the tutorial for the Ganonpot Clip in The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, or Kamigami no Triforce, or whatever. This clip is a shortcut or a wrong warp to the Ganon fight, which is accomplished by doing a clip into this pot here, or this vase, this decorative element of this room, which just happens to lead us to the Ganon fight. Pretty convenient, I'd say. So yeah, I'm going to explain to you how to do that. The first step is to partially embed yourself over the top of that pot by using what's called a YBA, which stands for Yuzuhara's Bottle Adventure, which is a play on the glitch RBA, which is from some other game that you've probably heard of. And of course Yuzuhara being the guy who discovered it. Okay, so first of course I should explain how a YBA works. A YBA works by drinking a potion on the same frame that you transition through a door, the same frame that the transition actually starts, or by doing it when you transition between screens in the overworld, but that's a topic for a different tutorial. Okay, so in this case we want to move ourselves to the edgemost pixel of this door. In this case I'm going to use the sword as a visual cue. If you have boots, you can dash buffer into the door, which is a nice way to make small adjustments. If you don't have boots, you're going to have to select buffer probably, or just try to make very small adjustments with little taps on the D-pad. Of course, you know, you can walk through the door. That's just wastes time. There's no real problem with that. You just have to walk back through and try again. So, once you're on the edgemost pixel here, your objective is going to be to, I'm going to make a save state in case I mess up. The objective is just to press the right button on the D-pad and the Y button at the same time. You'll know it works because the screen fades like that, and then fades back in. From here you can actually press left or right on your D-pad to activate the scroll glitch. I like to press left just because we want to be facing left on this pot to do the clip anyway. Another approach we can do here, if you choose to use the select buffer, or the select menu to buffer this movement, you can actually use that as like an additional safety. If you can confirm that you're on the farthest most pixel within this door before you transition, which you should just learn the visual cue, you can see it right here. One farther than that. Then you hold the directional input and you cancel the select menu and press Y 4 or 5 frames afterwards. You'll have to just get used to that timing from practice. But if you do that, there's no chance of accidentally drinking the potion before you enter the transition. If you hit Y early, nothing happens. You'll just walk through the door. If you hit it late, you'll just walk through the door. Only if you hit it on the correct frame does it happen correctly, and there's no risk of accidentally drinking the potion. If you try to time hitting Y and right on the same frame, then there's a chance that you can drink the potion, you can hit Y a frame early and drink the potion, and then you'll have to go get a new one, or, you know, reset your speedrun. One more thing worth mentioning here is that because it's a red potion, the game does check if you can use a red potion by checking if your health is full or not. So you have to have at least a quarter of a heart missing, or an eighth of a heart, but you can't actually lose an eighth of a heart by any way in the game. So a quarter of a heart or greater missing from your health, and it'll work. So yeah, if you want to select buffer this, looks like that. You can keep your sword drawn. Actually, that's actually something worth mentioning. If you choose to select buffer it and you still have your sword drawn, you can actually just leave it out, since you need to have it out for the clip anyway, and that will save you 12 frames or whatever. Alright, so once we get to the pot itself, I'll make another save state in case something goes horribly wrong. The technique here is, well, there's a lot of variants. I've seen people do it a lot of different ways, so I'm going to explain the way that I do it. First thing you want to do is slash your sword and open up the select menu. So you're going to want to select buffer diagonal movements here with your sword out the whole time. Now I think what some people do when they have to have their sword out the whole time is they hold B the whole time and use one of the other buttons to cancel the menu and then hit select to bring it back up. The hold B and then press A and then select, A and then select, while holding B the whole time. And that requires some crazy hand contortionism or something to work, because you have to hold diagonal the whole time as well. Luckily, there's an easier way. If you cancel the menu with B and then press select to bring it back up, the sword just stays drawn the whole time, because any frames that the game's advancing, B is held during those frames. So that's actually a really handy little trick there. So anyway, we want to hold down left and move 4 frames. Because it's such a wide range, I recommend learning a visual cue, so you can try to delay the select buffer by 1, 2, 3, or 4 frames. And if it lands on any of those, then you save, potentially 1, 2, or 3 buffers. But you want to learn a cue, that way if you move, you're not sure if you move 2 or 3 frames, you'll know if you need to move more based on what you see, instead of what you feel. Alright, so you want to do 4 down left, 4 frames of down left movement here. I believe that was 2, 3, and 4. The bottom of Link's sword will line up perfectly with the bottom of the pot here. That's how you know you're far enough. Now, because the movement pattern when your sword's out isn't the same amount of pixels every frame, it moves in a different pattern. When you reset it, the next frame of movement will be different than if you do consistent frames of movement. So after the first 4, you want to stand still for at least 1 frame to reset that movement pattern. So to do that, you just press B and then wait 1 frame, you release the D-pad, press B, wait at least 1 frame, and then hit select again. You'll see the sword kind of moves up. It appears to move up a pixel. That's just because of the movement animation, but we're still in the correct place here. So after this, you want to move down left 5 frames. So we're going to move 1. You'll see in that case he looked like he moved straight to the left. That's because of the way the movement pattern works. But you do want to hold down left the whole time, even if he doesn't appear to move diagonal. That was still a correct movement. So that was 1, 2, that was 3, 4, and then 5. You can delay the select buffers to move more than 1 at a time if you like. If you're comfortable doing it, like I said, just learn a visual cue. I know I'm on the correct pixel here. Link's entire sword appears to be just below the bottom edge of the pot there. Okay, so this means I'm far enough down. Now the next movement can be problematic. I had a problem with this and had no idea what caused it for a while. Well, until I tested it thoroughly, and then I figured out exactly what the problem was. So I'll explain what it was and what to do. Basically, if you cancel the select menu with B, you'll have your sword out, and then if you release it and you move for a couple frames with your sword out before releasing it, that throws off the movement pattern and you can get stuck in this pot. So the trick here, you're going to want to hold up left and then cancel the menu, the select menu, with any button other than B. You can do B if you press it fast enough, but if you hold it for 4 or 5 frames, this can potentially be problematic. So just press A to cancel it, hold up left, and you'll fall in the pot. And then try to fight Ganon with 3 hearts in a reverse, or 3 hearts in a EG Ganon run, and 4 hearts in reverse boss order. And no boots, of course, because boots would make it too easy. So yeah, I don't think there's any other important points to mention here. Well, I guess I can kind of explain why this works. I guess that's kind of important. So basically every room in the game has an associated destination room to which any hole or warp tile will direct you. So if a room is meant to be fallen, to have a hole in it that you can fall into to land in another room, that makes sense. But in every other room, they still have a destination room associated with them. But for the most part, they don't have holes that are accessible. So if a room is meant to have holes in it that you can fall into that hurt you and send you back to the beginning of the room, that's a specific tag given to those rooms. But if a room's not meant to have any accessible holes, then there's really no need to give the room the tag that holes hurt you. So this room, for example, has the destination room of room 0, which just happens to be the Ganon room. And if we're able to find any holes to fall into, then they'll function as transport holes that send us somewhere else. And the pot itself isn't any type of unique or special object. It's just a small hole with a little bit of a decorative element around it. And yes, I'm aware that sounded a bit obscene. So yeah, that's basically how that works. There's a few other wrong warps that you can accomplish. That's not a topic that I want to go into on this tutorial though. Maybe one day I'll get around to going into that in more detail. Okay, well, now that you know where Ganon's hiding in Hyrule Castle the whole time, you can go and defeat him much earlier and save Link a lot of time so he can get back to bed. Hopefully this tutorial is helpful for some people. I'm not going to do a tutorial on how to fight Ganon from here because I don't quite, I'm not really good at that myself. Maybe one day I'll get around to that. But yeah, thanks for watching.